Big news coming out of Old Trafford today. Erik ten Hag's £47 million goalkeeper signing, Andre Onana, has reportedly played his last ever game for Manchester United. After a rocky spell filled with high expectations and costly mistakes, it seems the Ruben Amorim era has completely closed the door on the former Inter Milan man. This is United Vision, and we're breaking down what went wrong for Onana and why his United career might already be over. When Manchester United signed Andre Onana in the summer of 2023, fans were buzzing. The £47 million deal from Inter Milan looked like a statement move, a modern ball-playing keeper reuniting with Erik ten Hag, the man who helped him win 3 Eredivisie titles at Ajax. Onana had just starred in Inter's run to the Champions League final and was seen as the perfect replacement for David De Gea. But fast forward to today, and the story couldn't have unfolded in a more disappointing way. Onana's time at United was plagued by inconsistency and high-profile errors. While he showed glimpses of quality, especially with his distribution, he never inspired total confidence between the sticks. His struggles were magnified under the pressure of Old Trafford, where every mistake is amplified. By the start of this season, Ruben Amorim decided to drop him in favour of Altay Bayindir, signalling a major shift in the goalkeeping hierarchy. Then came deadline day, when Manchester United signed 22-year-old Belgian goalkeeper Senne Lammens from Royal Antwerp for £18 million. Onana, meanwhile, was sent out on loan to Trabzonspor in Turkey. The twist? Trabzonspor don't have an option to buy, meaning Onana is technically due back at Old Trafford next summer. But according to former United winger Lee Sharpe, fans shouldn't hold their breath. In a recent interview, Sharpe said, "I would be very surprised if Andre Onana came back to the club after leaving on loan in the summer. Senne Lammens looks to have made that position his own now, and I don't think Onana would want to play second fiddle." I think we've seen the end of Onana at Old Trafford. Those are strong words, but they reflect what many fans feel. Lammens has already shown promise, keeping a clean sheet on his Premier League debut and helping Amorim's side to a massive win at Anfield, something United hadn't done in years. Sharpe even went a step further, comparing Lammens to United legends Peter Schmeichel and Edwin van der Sar, calling him a mix of both. He praised the young Belgian's calmness, command of his box and shot-stopping instincts. It's still early days, but fans are starting to believe Amorim may have found a hidden gem. As for Onana, it's hard not to feel that his Manchester United story will go down as one of the club's most disappointing signings. From Champions League finalist to outcast in just 2 years. A brutal reminder of how quickly things can change at Old Trafford. Amorim's rebuild is moving full speed ahead, and it looks like there's simply no road back for Onana. That's all for today's episode of United Vision. If you think Onana deserves another chance, drop your thoughts below. And don't forget to like, subscribe and hit that bell for more exclusive Manchester United updates every day. Meanwhile, in other news...
Ruben Amorim's Manchester United aren't waiting for next summer. They want business done now. Reports claim United are pushing for a £70 million January transfer that could relegate another club. Stick around because this one's wild. Ruthless Manchester United ready to force £70 million January signing through that could result in relegation. Manchester United want to accelerate the signing of a high-quality midfielder in January, and sealing the deal would not only land a blow on Manchester City, but could also send a struggling side down, per reports. Man United's winning run came to an end on Saturday, though the signs over the past month or so suggest the Red Devils are finally on the right track under Ruben Amorim. Their front three is set for the long haul after United invested heavily in Brian Mbeumo, Matheus Cunha and Benjamin Sesko over the summer. The next port of call will be overhauling the midfield, and according to Court Offside, Manchester United don't want to wait until next summer. They state United are ready to accelerate a mid-season move for Nottingham Forest and England ace, Elliot Anderson. The 22-year-old shone during United's clash with Forest on Saturday in what could be viewed as an audition of sorts. Anderson won 100% of the tackles he attempted, played 15 passes into the final third, achieved 14 ball recoveries, created 3 chances, won 3 fouls, and succeeded in both of the take-ons he attempted. Man United's interest in Anderson is well documented, but they're not the only club taking a close look. Chelsea and Anderson's former club, Newcastle, are in the mix too. Man City are also hovering and believed to pose the biggest threat to Man United, per the report. Accordingly, the Red Devils want to mitigate that threat by moving for Anderson mid-season, even if it means paying a premium. The figure of £70 million was cited in the piece. A source was quoted as saying, "United see Anderson as a perfect option and a long-term investment, though they could also accelerate their efforts for him this January." There is a unanimous feeling among the directors, Ruben Amorim, and his coaching staff, that Anderson would be a great addition in that position. Losing Anderson mid-season could be devastating for Forest, who have fired more managers, 2, than matches they've won, 1, this season. Forest are already 4 points adrift of safety, and Anderson's departure would reduce their chances of beating the drop significantly. Accordingly, Team Talk has been informed Forest have slapped a hefty £100 million price tag on the player. They have taken that approach in an attempt to ward off suitors, though Court Offside's report suggests Man United's aren't deterred. Regarding Anderson, we understand he is open to leaving Forest and securing a move to one of the Premier League's elite. However, there are no suggestions he will agitate for a mid-season move, and at present, he remains fully focused on lifting Forest out of the rut they're in. As such, the signs suggest Man United really will have to make an offer deemed too good to refuse if they're to land their man in January. So United fans, what do you think? Is Elliot Anderson worth £70 million, and should Amorim go all in this January? Drop your thoughts below. I'm reading every comment. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and keep it locked right here on United Vision. In other news, Manchester United are planning a £105 million January spending spree, and Ruben Amorim is set to be fully backed by the board. 2 major targets are already on the list, and it looks like Sir Jim Ratcliffe wants to make a real statement this winter. Stay locked in, smash that subscribe button, and let's dive into United's next big transfer moves. Manchester United set aside £105 million for January spending spree on 2 targets. United are set to back Ruben Amorim for the longer run, Sir Jim Ratcliffe confirmed in a recent interview. And after a win at Liverpool last weekend, it is fair to say that the Portuguese will have considerable backing to prove himself at the club. Fichajes has reported that Man United are planning another spending spree during the January transfer window, with Athletic Bilbao's Oyhan Sanset and Sporting Lisbon's Ousmane Diomande on their radar ahead of winter. According to the source, Amorim is set to be granted a £105 million budget to spend on the duo as he switches his attention to rebuilding the midfield and defence next, having acquired a number of offensive starts over the course of the preceded summer. £105 million enough to make 2 key signings. Oyhan Sanset will likely cost Manchester United close to £60 million, although it remains to be seen if Athletic Bilbao are prepared to let go of the 25-year-old midway through the season, especially as his contract with them runs until 2032. He promises to be a solid signing for the Red Devils, but given that Athletic Club are doing well in La Liga and also playing in the Champions League, there is a high possibility that his purchase will not be a successful proposition during the winter. Meanwhile, Ousmane Diomande's future could take care of itself in January as he enters the last 18 months of his contract with Sporting Lisbon. And in order to retain some bargaining power over the 21-year-old, they may let him go sooner rather than later. If Man United can offer approximately £45 million for Diomande, they would feel that they have done good business with signing an incredibly talented central defender with the potential to become one of the world's best a few years down the line. Sanset's signing is more vital for United, however, considering their lack of depth and quality in midfield, whereas Diomande is more of a long-term investment and a possible replacement for Harry Maguire, whose contract expires at the end of the season. Whether the board is prepared to wait for the athletic midfielder until next summer will be interesting to see, though for the time being, it isn't known yet whether or not United have any alternatives in mind heading into January. £105 million on the table, 2 young stars on the radar, and Amorim finally building his own team. What do you think, Reds? Should United go all in for both Sanset and Diomande this January, or save part of that budget for summer targets? Let me know your thoughts below. And don't forget to like, comment and subscribe to United Vision for more breaking news, transfer updates and analysis. Your number one stop for everything Manchester United. In other news. What a game. Manchester United have finally done it. A historic win at Anfield after nearly a decade. Ruben Amorim, Maguire, Bruno. Everyone's buzzing after that emotional victory. Stay tuned. We've got all the post-match reactions, the drama, and what this means for United's season ahead. Before we dive in, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe, and join the United Vision family. Manchester United's dramatic 2-1 win over Liverpool will go down as one of the defining moments of Ruben Amorim's early reign. It's been almost 10 years since United last tasted victory at Anfield, and this one felt like a turning point. A statement win that reminded fans of what the badge truly represents. Bryan Mbeumo opened the scoring early, but Liverpool pushed relentlessly, hitting the woodwork 3 times and missing key chances before Cody Gakpo's late equaliser. Just when the game looked set to end level, captain for the day, Harry Maguire, rose highest to head home the winner, sparking wild celebrations among players, staff and fans. Ruben Amorim was candid in his post-match reaction, calling it a good victory, but just 3 points. He praised the spirit and belief of his team, saying that's the foundation of everything United are building. Amorim admitted they lost composure at times, but was delighted with their fight and mentality. Harry Maguire couldn't hide his emotions either, saying the win meant everything, especially after years of disappointment at Anfield. He called it more than just 3 points and dedicated the victory to the fans who've endured tough results in recent years. Bruno Fernandes echoed that sentiment, describing it as massive for the confidence of the squad. The Portuguese playmaker emphasised that it wasn't just about emotion, but about sticking to Amorim's tactical plan, frustrating Liverpool, exploiting space, and staying disciplined. With back-to-back Premier League wins, United finally looked like a side rediscovering belief under Amorim. But as the boss said, the focus now turns to Brighton, and continuing the momentum that could define their season. What a win. What a night. Amorim's United are starting to believe again, and performances like this prove it. But do you think this is the moment the season truly turns around for the Reds? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this breakdown, hit subscribe so you never miss a moment of United news, analysis and drama, only here on United Vision in other news. Manchester United are in crisis again, and this time, it's not just rumours. Reports confirm a 7-hour behind-closed-doors meeting between United's top brass, the same kind that led to Erik ten Hag's sacking last year. Senior players have been questioned about Ruben Amorim, and serious talks are underway at board level. Is history about to repeat itself at Old Trafford? Let's get into the full story. Manchester United's 7-hour crisis meeting led to sacking as Amorim questions asked behind the scenes. Manchester United chiefs have reportedly held talks with senior players to discuss the current situation at the club, with Ruben Amorim's future still up in the air. The international break has done little to quell the speculation surrounding Ruben Amorim's future at Manchester United. That's in the wake of reports suggesting club bosses have been in discussions with key players to gauge the current mood within the squad. Amorim, 40 years old, is fast approaching his first-year anniversary at Old Trafford, having taken over from Erik ten Hag in November 2024. However, after guiding the team to a record-low 15th place finish in the Premier League last season, progress has been slower than many had hoped. United hit another low this season when they were knocked out of the Carabao Cup by League Two side Grimsby Town. With Amorim's men still yet to secure their first away win of the campaign, club chiefs have turned to certain players for their take on how things are progressing. This situation echoes the circumstances that led to a marathon 7-hour meeting between Ten Hag and his former superiors this time last year. And it wasn't long after the tactician was sacked from his role. Co-owner Joel Glazer, chief executive Omar Barada, sporting director Dan Ashworth, and technical director Jason Wilcox all convened at Ratcliffe's Knightsbridge offices in London to discuss the state of the club. Board member Jean-Claude Blanc, Chief Operating Officer Colette Roche, and Chief Financial Officer Roger Bell were also understood to have been part of the summit. Ten Hag survived just 3 weeks following that lengthy meeting. and it may not be long before United's top brass are forced to convene once again as issues on the pitch continue to pile up. Barada and Wilcox are understood to be leading recent discussions between the club's hierarchy and the playing squad. Captain Bruno Fernandes is among those who have been consulted, while other opinions have also been sought. It has been suggested the conversations were casual in nature and not necessarily designed to evaluate Amorim's standing at the club as such. Nevertheless, it is not the sort of activity one would normally witness at a club where everything is functioning seamlessly. United co-owner Sir Jim Ratcliffe has repeatedly been compelled to field questions regarding the manager's future. The Ineos billionaire has defended his head coach, indicating he expects the Portuguese boss to remain at the club for the foreseeable future. He has not had the best of seasons, Ratcliffe said on the debut episode of the Business podcast after describing Amorim as a decent bloke. Ruben needs to demonstrate he is a great coach over 3 years. That's where I would be on the topic of sacking Amorim. The remarks arrived amid growing anger from supporters about how the club is being operated. The Glazer family's stewardship of United has remained a significant source of frustration for fans, and Ratcliffe has found it difficult to shift sentiment since acquiring nearly 30% of the club and assuming control of daily operations last year. Oliver Glasner, Eddie Howe, Gareth Southgate and Diego Simeone are among the managers who have been mentioned in connection with the United position recently. Yet it seems the current boss is staying put for now. Despite overseeing 50 Premier League matches, United's boss, Amorim, is yet to secure back-to-back victories in the competition. The Red Devils have enjoyed a winning streak at home and beat Sunderland 2-0 just prior to the international break, but their away performance continues to be a major worry. Currently positioned 10th in the league and 2 points shy of the top 6, United face a daunting run of fixtures. Over the next month, they'll be squaring off against threats like Liverpool, Brighton, Nottingham Forest and Tottenham. 7-hour meetings, player consultations, tension everywhere. What's your take, Reds? Is Amorim being treated unfairly? Or is this just inevitable after such poor results? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's debate it out. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button for more United Vision stories, breaking updates, and behind-the-scenes insight every week. In other news, Old Trafford finally breathed again. Under the pouring rain and enormous pressure, Ruben Amorim's Manchester United fought for their manager's future and won. Mason Mount's roar, Benjamin Šeško's strike, and an emotional Amorim on the touchline. This wasn't just a game, it was survival. Let's break down how United silenced the noise, answered their critics, and gave fans a glimmer of hope heading into the international break. Old Trafford exhaled as the final whistle blew. Manchester United 2, Sunderland 0, a scoreline that felt like oxygen for a man under siege. Ruben Amorim came into this game fighting for his job, his credibility, and perhaps his last chance to convince both the board and the fans that his vision still has life. All week, the headlines were merciless. Jamie Carragher called his tenure a disaster. Gary Neville questioned his future. Fans were divided, some demanding change, others pleading for patience. But on this rain-soaked afternoon, Amorim and his players responded the only way that matters, by winning. Mason Mount set the tone early, latching onto a perfectly weighted pass from Brian Mbeumo and burying it into the corner. The relief was visible, a player reborn, a team finding breath again. The energy around Old Trafford shifted instantly. This was a side refusing to give in to the noise. Then came Benjamin Šeško. The young Slovenian striker, often criticised for inconsistency, pounced on a loose ball inside the box to double United's lead. The Stretford end erupted, 2-0, and belief began to creep back into the stands. But beyond the goals, there was something else. Discipline, control, unity. Senne Lammens, making his debut in goal, looked every inch the modern keeper United have been crying out for. Calm under pressure, sharp with his feet, fearless off his line. The Belgian youngster's performance was a revelation. At the touchline, Amorim's passion was unmistakable. Every tackle, every interception, every pass drew a reaction from him. This was a man fighting not only for results, but for his project to survive. After the game, he didn't hide his emotions. "I don't fear losing my job," he said. "I fear failing to win. My only goal is for Manchester United to succeed." It was a statement that hit home with the fans. For all the criticism, for all the frustration, there's something to admire about a manager who refuses to run. Still, questions linger. This win, while vital, doesn't erase months of inconsistency. Amorim's record remains underwhelming. 9 wins in 33 league matches. The system, the shape, and the execution have all been questioned. But if Saturday proved anything, it's that the dressing room hasn't turned on him. The fight is still there. The club hierarchy breathed easier too. With the break ahead and Liverpool next on the horizon, Amorim's job, for now, is safe. There's a sense of fragile optimism around Carrington. If United can build on this, momentum could finally swing their way. The mood among fans? Hopeful, if cautious. They've seen false dawns before. But for the first time in weeks, applause echoed around Old Trafford instead of boos. And as the players left the pitch, Amorim turned to the Stretford end and pumped his fists. It wasn't arrogance, it was relief. The storm has passed, but the clouds still hover. Liverpool away will tell the real story. But tonight at least, Ruben Amorim can sleep. He's earned that. The pressure isn't gone, but the spirit is back. What did you make of United's performance today? Was this the turning point for Amorim, or just another short-term fix? Drop your thoughts in the comments, Reds. Don't forget to hit subscribe. More United Vision stories, reactions, and tactical deep dives coming your way.